This is a video on how to create the cylinder image in the Adobe Illustrator exercise. So we will start with selecting the ellipse tool. Click and drag to create an ellipse. Go to the selection tool and click and drag the ellipse down. Once you start dragging, hold down the Option key. As you can see, the cursor will change into a double arrow right there. That means this ellipse will be duplicated as you drag. And then also hold down the Shift key so that instead of it, so that it gets dragged down perfectly straight. So to constrain the ellipse as you move it to be perfectly aligned with the top one, hold down the Shift key, and to duplicate it, hold down the Option key. So both of those keys as you drag. Make sure once you have it in the spot you want, let go of the mouse button before you let go of the Option and the Shift keys. Next, go to the rectangle tool, and before you do that, make sure that under view your smart guides are turned on. So turn those on, make sure they're checked. Okay, they would be checked like that, and that will give you guides as you hover over certain areas. So hover over the left edge of your top oval until it says anchor. Once it says anchor, click and drag until to the right edge of the lower oval until it says anchor. And when it says anchor, let go of the mouse button. So that creates a rectangle that's perfectly aligned with the two ovals on each side. Go to the selection tool and select the rectangle and hold down the Shift key and select the bottom oval. So make sure just the rectangle and the bottom oval are selected. Go to Window and open up the Pathfinder window and choose the first option, which is Unite. That will combine the rectangle and the bottom oval into one shape. Then you want to send this new shape behind the top oval. So while it is selected, go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. So there's your cylinder shape. Next, we will create a gradient that will be similar to the one I have here. This gradient goes from dark to medium to light to medium to dark to medium. Okay, so it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors in it. And I also want you to use the same gradient for both the bottom of the cylinder, the side, and also the top. So it'll be the same gradient, even though the top here looks like it's only going from light to medium. We'll be using the same gradient. Select both of these shapes and click on the stroke and click on none, and then click on fill and click on gradient, and the gradient window will come up. Sometimes when I have a gradient that has more than just two gradient sliders, these are the colors that will be in your gradient, I grab this right edge and I expand it a little bit. Sometimes it's a little finicky. Okay, just so I have a little bit more room to work with over here. I will start by changing the first color. Usually I like to start with like the medium color, and then I change it to light and dark. So the medium here is this kind of orange medium. So it doesn't matter where it is because you could move these things around and put more down here. So we'll just start with that medium orange color. And so click on the gradient slider so that it is selected in your gradient window. And whatever the color of this gradient slider, that will show up in your color window. And whatever color you change to over here, the slider will change to that color. So right now it's only showing me grayscale here. So I want to switch to CMYK and then get that orange color, which is usually about 100 yellow, and then you just add some magenta to it. So just look over here, and that's pretty close to kind of a medium orange color. And so a trick that I use when I'm trying to create a gradient with 3 shades of the same color is I just create that medium color that I need, and then if I hold down the Option key and just click and drag that slider over, that duplicates that same color. So now that I have 2 sliders here, I could get rid of this third one, the black one, because we don't need it, and just click and drag it down. Again, I'm going to hold down the Option key and click and drag to create. This is going to be the dark, that's going to be medium, that's going to stay that color, this is going to be light. Okay, so now I could change these, and if I click on that one, usually I just add a little bit more magenta, a little bit more cyan, and some black, just to kind of try to match the value that I have over here. Okay, and then I'm going to click on this gradient slider. That's going to be the light, the highlight. So I'm going to take off most of the magenta and some of the yellow, so it's nice and light there. Okay, so now I have my 3 colors, and now I could just duplicate them again. So I will hold down the Option key and click on this slider and drag it over to this side, and then I'm gonna go to dark and then back to medium. So I will click on the dark one and click and drag it over here, and then click on the medium, holding down the Option, click and drag it over there. Alright, so that created all of the colors that I need. Another thing that's helpful on this gradient is these gradient slider like half points over here, and you could control, because see how I have like the colors, they're a little bit not that smooth, so you could move these around and you could see how it's adjusting here, and it's making it a little smoother. So you could move these halfway points over a bit to kind of like smooth out the colors a little bit. So I like that gradient, so I could even just close that. So this is already set here. Now I just need to change the angle and the duration of this gradient of this top shape. Remember, these are both the same gradients. So I select the top shape and go to my click on my gradient tool, and here I could just hover over the end of it, and you could just rotate it like this. Actually rotate it down this way because I want to go from light to medium, and then you could just move this over like that, so the light edge is at the edge. Another way is you can just click and drag, so it starts here and ends there. You could just click and drag it this way. You know, each time you click and drag, you could kind of adjust it on the fly. Okay, last thing we want to do is create this starburst. Okay, I'm actually going to turn off the smart guides because I don't need them anymore, and they just kind of interfere when you hover over stuff. So go to the star tool, hold down the Option key and click. So that means I want radius 1 to be, I'm just going to say 100, and this one radius 2 will be 10, and we want 8-point star. Click OK, and there's something similar to that shape, so but I just need to adjust it still. So I'm going to put it on here in its place. I will rotate it slightly using the rotate tool. And then I will also use the scale tool and scale it down, holding down the shift key until it's kind of similar to the size that I have over here. And then using the direct selection tool, first I'm going to click an empty space and deselect it. And then I'm just going to grab each one of these points and just kind of either stretch them out or push them in to kind of get as close to what I have here as you can get it. Okay. Oops, mistake. Undo. And that's close enough. And then I will click on the stroke and select none, and click on the fill and select white. And that's it.